Alrighty. So I think we'll go ahead and get started, and folks can kind of come in as they go. Hi, welcome to our second session of Get Out the Vote with ASAN. Today we're going to talk through knowing your rights as a disabled voter and knowing how to enforce them if they are disrespected while you are at the polls or while you are casting a mail in ballot. Next slide, please. To do some quick introductions and some housekeeping, um, our presenter today is AJ Link, who uses he and him pronouns and who is a policy analyst at ASAN. I'm Noor. I'm the community engagement manager at ASAN, and I use he or they pronouns. Feel free to use the Q&A box to ask questions or to raise your hand. And I believe that we do have chat running, but it just kind of connects to us so we can see that. And you can feel free to message the host or panelists with any access or technical issues. And with that, I will go ahead and pass it off to AJ.
Thanks, Noor. The agenda for our session today is what are my voting rights? Your rights include the right to vote in private, to vote safely, and to vote accessibly. Then we'll talk about what accommodations you're allowed. And then we'll talk about how do you know if your voting place is accessible. We'll talk about mail-in ballots, and then we'll talk about what to do if your rights aren't being respected. And then we'll have some time left over for question and answer. So, what are my rights? Title 2 of the ADA, which is the Americans with Disability Act, says states and local governments have to make sure you've got an equal chance to vote. That includes the registration process, that includes completing your ballot, and that includes getting into a physical polling place. It also includes early voting, which we'll talk about. There's also HAVA, or the Helping Americans Vote Act, which says each polling place needs to at least one voting system that lets disabled people vote privately and independently. Another law is Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which says that you can get help with the voting process from someone that you choose. It also says that that person cannot be your employer or an official representative of your union. So there are accommodations for voting accessibility. There's an ADA guide, which we've linked to in the presentation, and I'm sure we'll drop in the chat for folks to have access to, that has guidance on voting place accessibility. Some of the protected accommodations for voting include being allowed to bring your service animal, being able to have someone help you vote, um, getting access to voting and election materials in large print, uh, wheelchair access in and out of the location, and that includes accessible parking spaces, and at least one accessible voting device at every location, which we talked about earlier, and poll workers to help you use this device. So, how do you make sure your polling place has what you need? You can call and ask your elections office directly, and we've placed a link to help you find your local election office. After you contact them, you can communicate what would make voting easy for you, and what accommodations you need. If your voting location is not accessible, you may be able to do curbside voting or vote at another location that is accessible. So, what accommodations are available for mail in voting? Again, you want to reach out to your local election office and communicate to them or tell them what makes voting easy for you. If that location is not accessible, again, you may be able to do curbside voting or vote at another location that is accessible for you. Now we're going to talk about what to do if your rights were not respected while voting or attempting to vote. The first thing you can do is contact your state protection and advocacy organization. Sometimes those are referred to as P&As. If you search disability rights and the name of your state, or if you visit ndrn.org, and that's the National Disability Rights Network, you can find your state P&A. You can also file a report with the Department of Justice. We have a link to the Department of Justice in the slideshow, and I'm sure we'll put that in the chat. But that link is civilrights.justice.gov, and that's civil, CIVIL, rights, RIGHTS, one word, dot justice, JUSTICE, dot gov. Or you can contact the Department of Justice via phone at 800-253-3931. I know that was a really short presentation, but it should have given you the basics for what you need. Um, the links will be in the chat, and this recording will be posted eventually. Thank you so much for coming, and now we'll open it up for Q&A from the audience if there are any questions, and you can always visit us at our website, on Twitter, or on Facebook. Thank you for being here.